Okay, so starting with labeling theory, this is a theory that focuses on the fact that women, even people who aren't women in society, who are labeled with certain titles such as deviant, violent, suspicious, strange, these individuals start to internalize these labels, and that leads them to commit crimes later on. Another theory is the conflict theory, which basically says that crime is a result of social and economic inequality. So basically, those who are coming from a lower economic status or class, especially people who struggle, who feel marginalized, such as minority groups, are also more likely to commit crimes. Some social control theories suggest that people who don't feel connected to society, so for example, someone who's perhaps homeless, would feel less connected to society, more of an outcast, and so since that bond is broken or weakened, they're less likely to uphold the laws of society because they have no motivation to. Some people also talk about biological theories in this module. We've learned a little bit about that. Some people attribute genetic or neurological or physiological features to your likelihood to commit crime. So, for example, if your parents were alcoholics, you're more likely to be an alcoholic and therefore more likely to commit crimes. Something along the lines of that, or if you are a psychopath or sociopath or things like that. However, it does sort of ignore a lot of social context that plays a role. The power and control theory, which is Hagen's theory, is essentially basically how families are structured, can attribute to your likelihood or women's likelihood to commit crimes. So if it's more of a patriarchal structure and men and women have different roles, women are much less likely to commit crimes. Whereas if men and women are raised equal within the household, they are more likely than the other family structure, just as likely as men. The gender gap refers to the difference in crime rates between men and women. A lot of the topics from this section focused on victimization and how victimization and then like empowerment justice reform, and how a lot of women who are driven to crime, it's more focused on self-preservation or feeling oppressed. And anyways, the empowerment side of that is basically to change the victim mentality into a survivor mentality and help these victims to feel empowered, to be back in control of their lives and to move forward, I guess.